everyone, it's RuPaul's Drag Race. Oh, I'm sorry, it's Canada's Drag Race. I guess old habits die hard. Season 1, Episode 8, Welcome to the Family. So I have not even looked at social media. I didn't want to get, I didn't want to see who goes home before. So I might have some contentious things to say. And it is, I kind of agree with the judge's decision, but I disagree with virtually everything they said to get there. And I just feel like maybe after 8 episodes, I'm kind of at a point where I'm like, I'm not going to agree with the judges. I just hope that wherever they finish is not wildly different than what I believe. So I took a little better notes this week. It was mentioned last week that at least one of my longtime viewers isn't watching the show, which I assumed everyone was. So I'm going to go a little bit more into depth so that it's not just like, oh, here's what I think. So Alona is gone, and apparently everyone disliked her. I personally wasn't crazy about her attitude while on the show. I'm saying that really carefully. She might be totally different off the show. She might be working through a difficult place in her life. I know I've been a really difficult person to be around at different times in my life, and if it was filmed and on TV, I would not be happy. So I give all of the queens that I watch on the show, they might be a different person in real life. I'm here to see what happens. So apparently everyone thought that she talked too much. She was incredibly difficult and bitchy, and I'm like, man, the Canadians, that stereotype that they're so nice is really going out the window. Jimbo and Rita have made up more or less, but there's still some tension. Jimbo, I think, see, this is why I have a real problem with the judges playing favorites, is it is not, the person it hurts the worst is the person who's being favorited. And you see that in the fact that Jimbo kind of resents that Rita is never being called out anything. The viewers resent that Rita is getting, it's not that Rita's been in the bottom and she won. It was more of like she was in the safe or near the top, but she won when other people felt that other people were stronger. That does not help Rita. The viewers are vicious. So anyway, we get that. Jeffrey comes in. I personally think, I enjoy Jeffrey when he is not judging. I noticed that last week they did the pageant. He was the host. I thought he was funny, charming, all that. I agree with almost nothing he says or how he says it when he is judging. They do the Everyone Loves Puppets challenge, and they all kind of rip into it. I guess there's something about Rita wanting to get with Lemon, which I did not see in the show. They mentioned Rita outs Jimbo and a bunch of stuff that she said in front of Jeffrey Boyer-Chapman, who laughed in good fun. Like I said, I don't have a problem with Jeffrey except as a judge. I don't think he's in a great place to judge, but I find him very personable as a host. And when he's interacting, like when he went around and talked to the girls during the challenge, I thought he made some good comments and stuff. I'm just trying to be open that I don't let my frustration at how the judging has gone to, I mean, people basically want him dead, and it's like, okay, it's a little bit of an exaggeration, so maybe we could just simmer on down, find a good balance between maybe he's not the most qualified person in this position to like, I hate him with a passion. Like, let's find a healthy kind of middle ground. So this is the challenge, is the Family Resemblance Makeover Challenge. This is always incredibly different. All of the people are from, so Scarlett Bobo wins the Puppet Challenge, and it was very enjoyable. What I want to stop and say, which is what I feel the judges should have said, which is we are our top 5. That is such a huge accomplishment. I feel like the queens, maybe because the judging is so difficult, maybe, I don't really know. I feel like we're not seeing enough celebratory, your top 5 of the first season of Canada's Drag Race. That's amazing. You are all amazing. I looked around at the 5 and I said, I don't want any of them to go home. I think Lemon had been really strong. Scarlett's never been in the bottom. Priyanka, such a joy. She's been in the bottom a few times, but if she ends in the bottom again, she's probably going home. I love Jimbo. Who am I missing? Rita Baga is obviously a favorite. I like Rita Baga, but you know, when you see judges favor her so much, it affects how you view it. So I would probably feel really differently about Rita Baga if I didn't feel that the judges gave her a pass on so many things. And that's why I don't like unfair judging. It hurts everyone. It frustrates you for the queens that are not getting the recognition they want, and it sours you sorry, it's a little pun, on the people who are getting the favoritism. And so they don't get a fair shot either. And so that's why it's such a problem with it. So anyway, they are doing all the people are people who've been helped through a charity called Rainbow Railroad, which, sort of like the Underground Railroad, but it's rainbow. And it's helping, LGBTQABI plus, just anyone under that umbrella who is facing, possible, problems in their country. Harassment, death threats, things like that. 700 people have been helped since 2006. So this is hold on, let me go yell at my dogs. No barking. Sorry. So this is an issue-heavy episode, which is fine to discuss. You know, it's good to educate people on the sort of harassment and problems worldwide that are going on with people when they live in a country that stigmatizes who they are. I'm trying to make it the most general as possible in terms of, this is a large umbrella to cover. In this case, we're talking specifically about sexualities, but no barking! I don't know if you can actually hear that or if it's just me yelling at nothing. So my little guard dog. Okay, so we talk a lot about where they came from, what their experience was. It's definitely worth watching. Scarlett matches up people, the darkest skinned with Priyanka, and kind of matches them up, I would say fairly, and I was surprised that Scarlett took one of the darker skinned people until Scarlett said that she's a makeup artist and she knows how to work on darker skinned people. Because I think the biggest mistake I've seen is when a queen, when I say mistake, I mean like roughest makeover, is when someone is working with skin tones that are wildly different than their own. Now, and they even I think Priyanka mentions this, which is, you know, this is one of the challenges. You come with a snatch game. You take one day to learn how to sew, at least the basics of how a sewing machine works, and you practice on a couple different tone skins. You know this is happening. So I'm not going to say that you are expected to be good at it, but you're expected to know. So, but Scarlett made a wise choice. If she's confident that she can make over a skin tone that's different, you should, at least from the judging point, be graded on the standard of, we know you had a larger challenge, because this is not, you can't just take the makeup, the foundations you do every day and just swap them over. We see this in competition shows all the time. We watch Ink Masters all the time, and they get skull picks, and inevitably this happens every single season, which is they give the hardest skull pick to their worst enemy who knocks it out of the park and does a great job. So there's some real challenges to this. So Scarlett, I thought, made a wise choice. Everyone's having a great time. We get to hear about their experiences, how they came to Canada, what sort of the situation was back in their own country. I didn't realize that I knew some of the countries, I didn't know all of them. And so it's a very good episode. I'm not going to go into great depth on that. My initial notes when they walked down the runway was Priyanka, I wrote great. Scarlett, very good. Lemon, I said rough. The makeup specifically. Rita Baga, I put a question mark because I didn't understand what was happening. They did not look like a family resemblance at all. And Jimbo, I put exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point, real drag queen. So for me, Priyanka and Jimbo were the top two. Scarlett was the safe middle, and Lemon and Rita were in the bottom. Based on the judging, I thought the judging agreed. But then when we got there, they put Jimbo in kind of the safe middle position, and I was like, what are you talking about? And this is where I say, in general, I agree, because I think they put the right person in the bottom. I'm totally fine with Priyanka winning. I thought it was a great transformation. It was very good. I don't understand how Jimbo wasn't the second safe person. That was confusing. Lemon thought the same thing. Lemon had the exact same order as me. And Lemon was like, I think I'm in the bottom. Rita thought she was in the bottom. Lemon says, I think I'm in the bottom, but if I'm not, I think it's Scarlett. And then Scarlett was like, what? Now, I will say Scarlett did an excellent job of the makeup. So I'm not super upset with maybe Jimbo being switched, but to me it was like clearly 3 on the top. No question, 3 in the top and then 2 on the bottom. To me, that was really clear. Who you want to put in the middle of those top 3? Okay, you can convince me otherwise. But to me, there was no doubt that Rita Baga, I felt like she had like gray contouring. I think Lemon, to me, the model, the Rabal that she worked, who was the gentleman that she worked with, who was Lime on the show, I felt like gave her like jowls. It was just really kind of bizarre, and I agree with them when they say it just wasn't pretty, but I think, but we are splitting hairs, so I do need to say that overall I thought the makeovers were good. I know I kind of jumped the gun there and got into it, but but there was some really bizarre critiques to me. So they were talking about how they felt like Jimbo and the sister were too sexy, but then I go, the Blue Blade brothers, who do Dragula, are a long-term couple who look alike, and so I kind of feel like they're not literally brother and sister. Like a lot of, you know, a lot of drag mom, like the first time Bob the drag queen met Miss Cracker, they had a relation. So these aren't your real mothers. These aren't your real daughters. These aren't your real siblings. So the idea that they were too sexy together, I go, okay, I mean, I would say that is, I get what you're saying when you're saying family resemblance, but then I would admit that drag families are not literal families, right? Like, do I have to say that? So it was kind of a weird, like, oh, we wish you were sexier or less sexy. And I was like, okay, well, that's an interesting critique. So that's what I mean, where overall, top and bottoms, I kind of agree mostly with, especially for how weird the season has been. I mostly agree with them, but a lot of the actual individual critiques were a little odd to me. So there you go. So in the end, Priyanka wins. I'm fine with that. Jimbo, like, even pretending that Jimbo might have to lip sync was ridiculous. Like, what are you talking about? That's the same as like last week when they said Jimbo or Snatch, which week is Snatch week, where they were like, oh, you were by far the best one on Snatch Game, but we don't like your costume, so we might put you in the bottom. And you're like, what are you? That is not how this works. So anyway, we do that. Then they have Rita and Lemon do to Alanis Morissette, which is kind of a hard song. I kind of feel like they could have got, like, it's a big emotional song, but I don't feel like it's the kind of song that you can really, I would have maybe liked to have seen, like, maybe her ironic song? I don't know. It just is, I think it's a kind of a hard, I like Alanis Morissette. That was like, that CD came out when I was an angsty high schooler, so I listened to it a lot. But I don't necessarily know if it's a great drag queen. I feel like we could go with more pop, but I don't know. I knew they were going to send Lemon home. I knew they were based on track record. That's something that's not discussed a lot, which is, I think that in the normal season, I think the track record plays in a little bit to the lip sync, unless someone wipes the floor with them. I think it's kind of like they said, like your third lip sync. Like, you can't just be in the bottom every single week and then lip sync your way out of it. I think at some point they go, hey, it's been 3 times. Like, it's just not fair. Unless the person is just, you know, unless we have like a Valentina, like, I'm not going to take the mask off, in which case, or you don't know the words at all. Anyway, so I'm not surprised that Rita Baga stayed, especially because they think that she's the front runner and she's so strong. But if you had told me nothing about their competition this far, I think I would have gone for Lemon, but I don't have really strong feelings. I've never been one who the lip sync alone changes my opinion unless the person's bad. Like, I feel like you can lose a lip sync, but winning a lip sync is really hard, and I think we've seen that before where someone technically performs better at the lip sync but has been in the bottom so many times versus a favorite that you're just like, we can't just let you stay based on just that. That's my opinion. Be wrong. Like I said, this might be totally contentious. I might get a bunch of comments that are like, you are insane. I might get 10 dislikes like I did last week. I don't know why I got so many dislikes. I don't know. I mean, if you don't like me, don't watch the videos. Next week we see Michelle Visage, and if she ends up sending Jimbo home, I'm gonna die. But I think I'm hoping we see a little bit more of her. I'm gonna start with what I like and mention all the things I like, and then kind of go through it. But we'll see. But I want to reiterate: top 5, you guys. Top 5. The first. So not only did you get onto the show, thousands of people applied for the first time to Canada's Drag Race. And it's not even like this was this new show that it was this blockbuster hit, I assume, within the drag community. So I imagine they got a ton of submissions, a ton of submissions. And you were the top 5. So I kind of feel like at this point, especially this point on, everyone's a winner. I think you're going to see, I'm hoping that we see a lot of people that they get a kind of a second chance. I'd love to see them on US Drag Race All-Stars, because they're a couple years out from Canada All-Stars, if Canada, continues to have the show. But anyway, who do you think's going home? I mean, I've heard mutterings that it's Jimbo, but I don't know. For me, based on past performance, if Scarlett could go home next, if she doesn't have a breakout hit, and also Priyanka, because Priyanka has been at the bottom several times and is, kind of clung on. So we will see what's going to happen. At this point, I think Rita Bag is a guarantee. I would be shocked if they sent her home because they seem to just like her so much. I would like to see Jimbo in the final, and oh, it's so hard. I like Scarlett and Priyanka so much. I'll say Priyanka. She doesn't have a strong track record, but as Trixie Mattel says, your interviews can carry you. That's what she thinks. She thinks that if you have really good interviews, it can carry you through a little bit farther than if you have bad interviews. So I'm going to use that as my defining factor. It does not mean that I think Scarlett's bad. And it was a really difficult choice. And if you ask me in an hour, I might feel differently. So tell me who you think. Okay, bye.